All right, ladies and gentlemen, looks like we're live. I'm just doing the usual check 5 minutes beforehand, making sure that everything is actually working. Yeah, I'm definitely. All right, ladies and gentlemen, there we go. Looks like everything's functioning perfectly fine. Yeah, I know what you mean, Lorna. It can be frustrating, but imagine Irish Steve, because Irish Steve is only known as Irish Steve on Beasts of War and nowhere else. Everywhere else, he uses that particular username. So, yes, there is someone else who knows your pain here. All right, I just figure we're going to do the warm-up chat. Is there anything in particular that you guys want to talk about before we begin? Or is it just, you know, how to say, business as usual? No response. Great shame I have. All right, yeah. So hopefully this will all go off without a hitch, unlike last time, because last time was a bit of a nightmare there at the end. Because I was ready to stream the whole way through, but such is life. Yeah, so it took me a while to get Google and YouTube to display my name properly. That's Irish Steve. Had to change it a few times across the different Google platforms. Yeah, Google can be a little bit that way. Yeah, I'm losing a bit of faith in Google with some of the things they've been doing recently, but it's a fine platform. Everything's working at the moment, and it's working for me, a relatively small guy. So, got that going for it. But, it is what it is, fairly much. You guys working on anything in particular that you're interested in? Yeah. Lorna just discovered that the chat can pop out. Yeah, to be honest, I still don't know how to run this thing properly, but I've been away for, the last week and a half, so such is life. Yeah. Well, hopefully, soon enough, everything will come good, but we will soon see, won't we, ladies and gentlemen? All right. But yeah, I am just going to pop over, make sure that everything's functioning perfectly fine. Yeah, looks like we're all good on this end, and we've just got 2 minutes to go. The only reason why I do this bit here at the start is because when it first starts processing, it doesn't show, the first few minutes when you're doing all of this sort of thing, because it's not until the designated time that you started. All right, so 100 different little things, commissions, models for Twitch, personal models, too many things. Oh man, I'm 100% with you with the too many things, but that's just life, I think. Not so much anything else. There's so much to be done always, isn't there? All right, so we're going to be starting in just a moment. Ooh, I'm looking forward to it. All right, just waiting for that clock to tick over. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome once again to What Are You Painting Now? The stream after the crash. So, unfortunately, we had some technical errors this morning, but never fear, I am here and I am going to power through until we have finished this week. All right, ladies and gentlemen, let's get right to it. So, we're starting off with Horace 500. And this is where we got up to in the stream dying. So he is getting the old corridor and up and running for the new Necromunda game coming out, and they are looking damn fine. So I was talking about not Cawdor, but the Redemptionist earlier in the day. But I tell you what, I really love the Cawdor standard color scheme. That white and blue just looks absolutely magnificent. And, you know, I really do like the more sort of Bretonian peasanty look to all of these guys, because I think that it's something that's a very interesting off in the far future. You know, a bit of a clash of themes, but I don't mind that. I think it really helps bring the models alive. But Horace, I am gonna, you know, reprimand you just a bit. So taking a look at those bases, man, come on. Let's if you're gonna do it for Necromunda, why not go whole hog and just put them on the new bases? You know, they're gonna look damn fine on those new bases. All right. So the Redemptionists are looking pretty darn fine themselves. I really love that very rich red that they have. I think that their color scheme is once again another lovely color scheme. You know, rich reds, dull grays. You know, great color contrast. But once again, these bases, man, come on. You know, put a little bit more effort into that, because you are, you know, doing just great work with these models. So why not show them off just a tad bit more? But of course, this may just be a work in progress picture. I do not know one way or the other. All right. So next up, we have a new bloke. All right. So Rogue Llama. So Rogue Llama has been painting up some Dark Eldar, which apparently have been renamed the Durakai. Am I reading that correctly, ladies and gentlemen? I do not know one way or the other. But yeah, so he's painting up the Durakai, apparently. So I really do like this theme that he's got going here. This, you know, garish green with the purple, you know, just this clashing colors. Looks absolutely phenomenal. And he's got some various elements here on the base, but we do need one more element there. So I'm going to copy Dukai, apparently Lorne or tells me. So let's take a look. Apparently that is as close as we can get on these guys, which is a bit of a shame, because it looks like he has put a tremendous amount of work into these guys. So it is a bit of a stumbling block for commenting, but I do like these very clashing colors. So we've got these really bright neon greens, these almost golds with the guns, but it's hard to tell, you know, with the things currently set up the way they are. But yeah, as for what I'm seeing right here, I think the base needs one more element. I think that the colors are looking really good. I think what we need right now is just a better picture. You know, go ahead and put up a better picture, and hopefully we will get some more commentary on these guys. But I tell you what, this guy looks absolutely phenomenal. But the one thing that I would do here is I would, you know, go a bit harder in some of the edging around here, you know, to really help bring it up. All right, so next up, we've got Gorilla with a brush, and hopefully he will not break my heart again. And I tell you what, that blonde has come together just absolutely phenomenally. I think it's just because blonde is such a hard hair color to get right. You know, it's not quite yellow. It's this very interesting sort of sandy gold, which you know, is very easy to get wrong, but very hard to get right. Now, I think it's coming together very well. I think that his non-metallic metals are coming up just so fine. But once again, it is a work in progress. So let us move on. All right. And we've got some of Lawn Oars stuff all done up. All right. So I am very much liking this black-clad Wayfarer. He is looking darn fine. And one of the things that I do have to say, Lawn, or is the thing that I'm very much loving about these guys is the way that you are doing the photos, with them at all the different angles, which does help a great deal. So I think the cloaks come together really, really well, and I do like the basing on this guy. It's desolate, but having those few little rocks there and having the uneven base, that looks really nice. And we can see just how much that gold has been brought down from where it was at the start. So let's take a look at the fella. It's a bit hard to get a good shot of the face, but I really do like the stonework. I think the cloak is without a doubt the standout feature of this model, but of course it was always going to be. I think that the leather, slash hide side looks pretty good, but it is the green interior that really sells it on this model. So I think that that's absolutely beautiful. As for improvements, I don't know, maybe doing some color here on that hide symbol, but like that's more of a taste thing. Yeah. And yeah, I think that he is looking just damn fine. There's not a whole lot which I would actually change on this, especially since you are sticking with the traditional colors. So yeah, Lornor just says that the leather cloak needs a little something more, but as to what it needs, I am unsure. All right, next up we've got the black clad stone shaper, and once again I'm going to bring him over here. If things will work for me, but of course they won't, because this is a Weepan stream. It's just how things go. So I do think that your skin work needs a bit more work in here, right? I do know that these models are incredibly hard to work with. The basing doesn't look quite as good on this one, even though on the previous one it was very, very subtle. And I think that's why it sold that one a little bit more, because you've got the big pile of rocks there. I do like how you've continued the rocks out. Oh, the mic is cutting in and out a little apparently. So I'm just gonna move it over here so that we've got a bit of a voice here. Yeah. Lawn Or says that face is about 1 millimeter by 1 millimeter, and all I can say to that is such is life. But yeah, I think that he's looking really good. I like the neon green. I like the gloss effect that you've added to his little ball of energy. I think that that looks really good, a contrast of kind, because at the moment he's got a lot of green on him. But I think that you've done well to give good contrast of kind. Yeah, so Lornor said that his base was very limited by the stones themselves. But I think that that is, once again, such as life thing. I think maybe just a tuft of grass, like even if it's a little bit of dead grass, I think that that would look a lot better, just having that one little bit of difference, because that's very much what you've got with this guy over here. You've got all that uneven ground and then just those 3 rocks there that helps break everything up. All right. So, yeah, while I do think he looks really good, I've still got those few critiques. I do think that you've done really well for giving differences of kind. See, this is what I'm talking about when I'm talking about differences of kind, ladies and gentlemen. So, though we're seeing a lot of green on here, right? And, there's not a whole lot of difference in, the color scheme there, right? Take a look at the way that he does things. So we've got the gloss here. We've got a much more fabric feel to these ones, with a bit of dry brushing, a lot more edging, that sort of thing. And then up in here, we've got a much more flat green. So, giving it a much more armored look. So you're trying to give your miniatures those differences in kind so that you've got something just absolutely... how to put it, when you're doing a lot of one color, you absolutely need to have differences of kind. Otherwise it's just going to look like the green blob, or whatever color you may be painting it. All right, so next up we've got Sed, and he is painting up these guys right here. Now, I'm certain that I commented on these ones before, but I'm unsure, so I'm just going to go for it anyway. So the thing that I particularly like is the way that they all come together in sets. You've got the normal regular books, And then you've got the actual mimic here, and how this mimic is just all out and out with this one. You know, you've got the tongue coming out with the teeth and everything. And yeah, it's just really that much more out there. So as far as critique goes, the only critique I really have is as far as the pages go, which is much more of a sort of how do you like to do it? So for me, the way I like to do it is I prefer a more bony color for pages rather than a pure white, because pure white looks a bit unrealistic unless you've got a more sort of futuristic setting. But that's just me. But yeah, so I think it does look really good. But yeah, once again, that one bit of critique I would say is more of a taste thing. Next up, we've got Pierres, and he is doing up some historicals. Ladies and gentlemen, who would have thought that Pierres would have done that? All right, but he is giving us a whole lot of historical information, and I'm going to read that out after doing a quick commentary on these ones. So he's showing us a whole bunch of half tanks and small tanks. So the thing that I really do love about these is the way that he does chipping. Like, no one does chipping like Pierres does. And it just looks so realistic the way that he does it. And I think that that really helps things. The other thing that he really does, which really helps bring these things to life, is the little extras, like the jerry can on the back, you know, the canvas sack there, you know, all sorts of things like that. So I'm just going to read this bit out because I know a lot of you guys are historical guys, and you guys really enjoy, you know, the very much historically accurate thing. You guys know that I'm coming from a more painting perspective on this channel, so you know it's a very different thing. All right, the vehicle was designed by in 1929 by the Austrian company Sawyer. Was unique in having full tracks for off-road use, as well as 4 large wheels that could be lowered for running ground like on roads like a normal vehicle. This was designated the RK7. While the trial vehicles performed well, the design was not adopted by the expanding Wehrmacht, as it was too complicated, and they also preferred to concentrate on their own half-track series of vehicles. The RK7 was a powerful 4-cylinder Sawyer diesel-type CRDV engine of 5,500 cc, topping at, I don't know what BHP stands for, 70 bph, at a top speed of 30 kilometers per hour on tracks, or 60 kilometers per hour on wheels. With the annexing of Austria into the Greater Reich in 1938, 140 vehicles were ordered with the German designation, but only 129 were completed with armor bodies by Daimler-Benz before production ended in favor of the SD.KF 353. Okay, so yeah, they saw early service in the war campaigns in Poland and France, as well as North Africa, the Balkans, and Russia. So there you go, a bit of history for you guys. And yeah, while it's not my thing, you know, like that's for me, like I said, it's a bit of the curse of the historicals for me, because I look at it and I just go, oh, how can we brighten this up? How can we make it just a bit more exciting? Because I come from a much more fantasy-esque background. But yeah, speaking of which, next up we've got the good doctor, Dr. Ether. Not too good when it's a... No, I will not say that joke. I should not say that joke. All right. So the good doctor is doing up yet more Kingdom Death. So these are Beetle Knight armored people with Thundermaw and Death Mask, and Gorm armor with axe and lantern. So what I particularly like is these just violently clashing colors of the purple and green, much like those guys before, who looked absolutely freaking phenomenal. So I do really like the clash in colors. I think that the base looks good, but if you're going to do the basing like that, get a bit of variation amongst the dirt. I do think it definitely hits the three elements thing, but I like that sort of rolling style that was done up with Lawn stuff right here. I think if you're going to be going for just a plain dirt, try that out. All right, so these guys are looking really good. I think the purple and the green clashing is quite nice. I'm going to open them up, see if I can get a bit of a closer look on these guys. All right. Well, apparently that's as close as I get, ladies and gentlemen. So, yeah, I do think that the gold really helps clash with everything and sort of brings that extra bit of depth to the model. The axe, it's like most of the Kingdom's Death stuff, and the same with the mace, very over the top, as well as the mask. But, that is very much the style of it. So there's not a whole lot more that I can comment on it. I do think that the non-metallic metals look nice. I do like the slight effect with the lantern, the glow. I think that looks nice. As for critique, yeah, I just think it's more or less that little bit with the basing. There's not a whole lot to critique there. I do think it's looking pretty darn fine. Yeah, I don't think that there is a whole lot that I can add to these models. They're done up in a very, very nice schmick way. All right, next up we have myself just talking about the trip, and yeah, just a few comments, and then we've got Navis, who is not here at the moment, but was in the last stream. So after a few weeks of being unable to get any painting in, he made a bit of headway today, which is good, David. Glad to hear that. And that was, not too long ago. And he's done up these Space Wolf guys. So the basing's looking interesting. I do want one more element on with these bits of basing, but I do like how he's managed two elements within the basing, by just having dirt. See, that's all you need, ladies and gentlemen. Take a look at that right there, and that is looking damn fine. All right, so he's gone for very, very bold lines when it's come to these. Like, I think that he's most probably painted in the muscles and done a bit of edging rather than, just done just a heavy wash, that sort of thing. Or maybe not. Maybe he has done the heavy wash, because that looks like heavy wash right there material. So I think that that's come out pretty darn well. The muscles have come up very, very nicely. The skin on the faces, I think, needs a bit of work, because I think, like, with some of them, like this guy looks good, the way that his face is all done up, but the way that you got a bit of modeled skin here, I don't think really helps your cause. I do very like the muted color scheme with the Scout Corp, because it looks like Space Wolves, but it looks like it's been dulled down, and I think that that's a very cool way of doing your Scout Corps, to make them look a part of your army, but look as if they've toned it back a little so that they are actually Scouts. I really do like this pirate guy right here. I think he looks very, very fun. But yeah, so I think these guys are looking quite nice. I'm not too sure what else I can say. I do like the way that this hair is done up, but I think you guys can see exactly what I mean with the skin right here. Now, the blues come through very, very nicely, but are much more duller blue, and that's what I was talking about, having it brought right down. But yeah, I think that that's very much a good thing for your Scouts, not having them be very bright and very loud. I mean, if you're going to do Scouts, that is how they should be, right, ladies and gentlemen? All right, so after that, he's done up a few Grey Knights, or at least he's making his way there. So he's painted them up with an army metal plate mail and then washed them with a Guilliman blue glaze. And I think that that's come up just beautifully. I think that that's, utterly lovely. It is just a work in progress, but effect, Davis. I think it's come up very, very nicely. All right, and he's done up some Adeptus Custodi, which are more or less complete. He's just got to do up some gemstones and do some washes and such. Now, I think that they're looking quite nice. I very much like the way that he's done blue power weapons, and just a flat blue, I think, looks good. But, take a look at that color scheme for a second, ladies and gentlemen, and you will see exactly what I am seeing, right? That is a tricolor theme. We've got the blue here with the blades. We've got the red with the plumes and with the shoulder pads, and then all of that gold. And what do I always say about metallics? Think of them as a color. So what does that make it? Red, yellow, and blue. Mwah. Perfect. Just perfect. And by using subtle colors with your power weapons, that sort of thing, adding a bit of blue tint to your steel, that sort of thing, you can add in those themes. But yeah, so I think it looks absolutely lovely, and it looks like he's just got the odd 70 Marines or so to do. So he's an absolute madman. So more power to you, David. More power to you. All right, next up, we've got Laughing Boy, and he said, very rough and ready. And therefore, the Walsung Boot Camp probably took 10 hours, including the prize model. All right, so we've got some absolutely beautiful guys here, and hopefully when we copy them over, they will stand up right side round. They do. I don't know why this keeps happening, but for some reason, when we scroll through them here, don't look the right side until we bring them over to look at things that way. But yeah, these guys are looking absolutely lovely. I'm just going to call up one more, and then I'm going to give a bit of a full commentary on them. So I'm unsure. Oh, okay. And this is his prize model. Okay. Let's take a look. So I very much like the way that he has done up these bobby men, I do believe they're called. So they look to be elven bobby men, or at least this one does. I very much like the way that he's done up the beard. And this, ladies and gentlemen, is how you do rubble basing, right? So we've got all that cobblestone, we've got a bit of dirt in there, and then we've got a bit of shattered tile. Mwah! Absolutely beautiful, ladies and gentlemen. That is how you want to do it. So yeah, I think that looks great. I think, we've got some good contrast with the yellow, blue, and with the red. All right. So Lorne Orr tells me that he thinks that it's a digital camera thing. It stores everything in metadata, which shows up in the pictures, but not every program uses that data. So I couldn't say one way or the other on that. So this is one thing that, okay, interesting. Okay, I'm just going to click it again, and hopefully, oh no, it's decided to have a tanty. All right, so we don't get to take a look at that other bobby man, but I am going to scroll up and make a few comments on them. Okay, so that one miniature in particular is just out on vacation, but the I really do like, the guy there with the cup of tea, that sort of thing. I think that looks really cool. I very much love the way that he's done up all the basing and that sort of thing. I think that's come together really, really well. I do think that this lawman right here, most probably the sheriff or some other such, looks very nice. I think there's some great color contrast. Look at that, all right? The primary color scheme just going straight down. Yellow, blue, red. Beautiful. Just freaking beautiful. And of course, his steel arm helps contrast against all of that naturalistic leather. Mwah! Just beautiful. All right. Well, not steel arm, but armored. And here is the prize model. So unfortunately, it's gone a bit fuzzy logic on us and is not showing us everything. But yeah, I think he's come together well. There's a lot of little bits of detail that he's done on him. Done a gemstone effect in here, done those little bits within the cloak. all of those sorts of little things. But this is very much one of the problems that you have when you've got a very monochromatic model. I think that the green does very much work against it, because I'm betting if we saw this guy turned around, I think that the green would just be maybe a bit too dominant. I think that he's done really, really well on the cloak, but that's something that you've got to watch out for. And I think the way that he's done up all the bits and bobs has really helped counter that, So I think overall, I really like how these are done up. I think considering that these are quote unquote rough and ready, if this is what you call rough and ready, I want all of my models to be rough and ready. And this guy looks really good. I don't think that we commented on this guy before, but the metal arm right here, just beautiful. Great contrasts of kinds with these guys. But that basing, ladies and gentlemen, that basing, take a look at that as we'll scroll along. See all of it right there? Beautiful. That's exactly what I'm talking about when I'm talking about basing, ladies and gentlemen. Next up, we've got only one Pinman who joined us on the previous stream. But yeah, absolutely beautiful. At the moment that I saw it, I understood what it was exactly. It's an N7 Enforcer. He's done it up as a Dead Zone Enforcer with the N7 color scheme, and I think that that's come together so well. Those bits of white and red just help break this model up so much. And of course, the bits of yellow here draw the eye so much. But yeah, absolutely love it. Of course, this base is not finished yet, so yeah. We will see how that all looks together. All right, he also adds one little bit of thing. He says, also, I have a hot hobby. Yep, that's right. English is my first language. All right, also, I have a hot hobby tip for you. If you use a lot of decals, you will know they respond better to warm water than cold. And keeping that warm water warm means consistently replacing it. Unless you're like me and you've come into possession of a baby bottle warmer. So, yeah, using that baby bottle warmer to keep the decal water warm. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. A hot tip for you. All right. So next up, we have Fishman. And yeah, I just want to do a quick apology, ladies and gentlemen, for not streaming that other time. But I did stream for all of 10 minutes, and I'm glad I deleted it because I'm pretty sure I was delirious on camera. Yeah, it was not a good show. All right, so Fishman says, Calidors, get a good sleep, man. Refresh, maybe split the stream into two. As you have a fortnight to catch up on. I would have gone through the whole way, but technical difficulties, which was a bit frustrating because I was feeling pretty proud about that. All right, so we've got a Caesar model here by the looks of things, and it is just a work in progress, but I think it is coming together nicely. I think we're up to the stage where he's going to put some washes over it, but it's very interesting to see how people do their works in progress. So it looks like he's blocked out all the colors, and he's most probably going to wash the whole model at once, maybe with like a 50-50 mix of black and brown, but to give it just that extra bit of warmth to the black so that it's not so dominating on like the skin and such. But we will see how it all turns out. All right. So Horace says, is the sculpt meant to be Kenneth Williams from Carry On Cleo? All right. And apparently indeed it is. All right. Next up, we've got Guillotine, and he's finishing off those models we saw earlier, just doing the acrylic effect for the water. So yeah, I think that it's come together well. I do think that what you either want to do is you either want to give like a clear rounding to the base, doing that rim, or you want to sort of bring it over because, these bits right here where you've got that in between the lip cut, I guess, is one way of putting it. I think that that's not helping your cause because you have put in a tremendous amount of work into these models, and I commented on them earlier. But I think if you do that, you know you're going to help yourself out so much. But for me, looking at how things are, I most probably wouldn't paint the rim. I'd most probably just try and bring the way that it is over a little. But yeah. All right. So Lawn Or says they look amazing, but the water effect looks like it's on top of the ground, not in it. Yeah, I think that I'd agree with that when it comes to some of it right here. I think in there it looks quite nice, but I do know exactly what you're saying with some of them. See, like these ones in here just look absolutely beautiful. I think when we take a look at these ones in comparison to those ones up there, you can see the difference. It is just, it's so apparent. And I think that with these guys, I think that you put a lot of work into their basing compared to these guys, because I think that you put a tremendous amount into the way that you've done up the model. I mean, like the way that you've highlighted that gray, up from the black looks absolutely phenomenal. But once again, you take a look at this down here, just chalk and cheese, man, chalk and cheese. So absolutely beautiful work on that, man. I think that you've done really well, and I think you should be very proud of yourself. All right, so next up, we've got the Dace, who we haven't been seeing as much of for a while. And he is doing up a golem from Rune Wars, and I really like this dual color scheme that he's putting together. I think that is looking damn fine. I think this is just a work in progress, though. Not posted on here for a long time, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So he just thought he'd have a read through and put some work in. All right. Oh, no. Oh, no. Looks like he ended up being painted over completely. I thought that that was going to be a cool color scheme. Here he is all done up. Is that him all done up? That is him indeed all done up. All right. So first off, thank you very much, Dace, for joining us once again. But yeah, and for the work in progress, I think that that all looks grand, man. So I really do like this deep green effect that you've given the glow to him, and the dull red in here with that white glow. I think that that looks really nice, but also these clashing colors of the orange belts against the green cloth. Mwah! Just freaking beautiful. I think that that looks phenomenal. But as for the green glow, I think that that looks really good. But I think within these spirals, you could hit them up with a bit of a brighter green to give a sort of, heart energy feel to it. I think that that would look really good. I think that the swords have come up really well. I find them really interesting, the way that you've done them up in the color motif. I don't know much about Rune Wars, so it might be something to do with the model itself. But yeah, I think that that's come together really well. As for the back, not a whole lot to comment on other than what you can see already. But it does look as if the back shot... Okay, so Lawn Or says, wash them white before applying the green. Yeah, I guess that might be one way of doing it. I generally do it by blending and such, like I'll do up a blend, and then like I'll put it in here, and then I'll put the next color in so that it actually water blends with it. Very light coats, very small amounts. Oh yeah, so he was talking about the runes just then. But yeah, so I think it's come together really well, man. I think that this back shot might be before you finished off the swords. I can't say for sure one way or the other, but I'm fairly sure that's the way it is. I think that the way that the armor contrasts against the cloth and all of that, as well as the stone, just beautiful. I think you put in a phenomenal amount of effort, but I will say one thing. We want to see that basing all done up. But as I understand, they've got their own sort of basing thing that they do with Rune Wars. So hopefully we will see that all done up soon enough. Next up, we've got Doug the Thug, or Doug the Fug, with some of his blood and plunder stuff. Now, this is very much what I'm talking about when I'm talking about historicals, ladies and gentlemen. So taking a look at this, I love it. I love these bright, bright colors. You know, the red and the yellow and the blue. Oh, just beautiful. Great color contrast. All of it looks grand. But if we scroll up to Pierres, right, who is 100% historically accurate, you can be sure of that without a doubt. It's not quite as fun as this. And see, that's very much for me where I'm going for with these sorts of things. But yeah, I think that it is looking damn fine. I really do like the way that he looks. I like his glowering look. I think that the skins come together fairly well. I do think the decking's looking all right, but really I'd try and do up the nails within the boards, you know, to bring that bit up just a tiny bit more, and I'd most probably clean around the rim a bit. But other than that, I think that he is looking damn fine. And I'm not sure where this guy is. So the gent with the bow is meant to be a native Caribbean Indian. In archery auxiliary units. So I don't know one way or the other about that guy. I do really like the sort of rich red Indian skin against the white. I think that that looks absolutely phenomenal. And the bright red there, which contrasts, of course, with the much more deep brown of the skin there. I think that that looks just phenomenal. Yeah, but once again, I would like to see, you know, the nails done up on these boards just to give, you know, that extra bit of depth to these. So I think he does look rather nice, but yeah, I don't think that there's a whole lot more that I can comment on him, though I would like to. I think that you're doing pretty well with the eyes, man. But I think to improve with eyes takes a phenomenal amount of effort, just more effort than, you know, you have that's worth it. All right, so next up we've got Lawn Or doing up some more of his crick stuff. So I think that these guys are looking really interesting. I much prefer these guys to a lot of the other Cricks guys because they've got a lot more color to them. I think that that pallid flesh color against the brass and the steel looks much, much nicer than the others. But I also note that these guys do not have that steel, that gold effect right there. Hey, Evil Stu. Yep, Calidor's never sleeps, he says. Yeah, I just keep on working, man. Just gotta keep on powering through. Yeah, so I really do love the way that this comes together, right? Because it's much, much more interesting than, like I said, the gray and green. Because this is a much more interesting color palette to me. You've got, you know, the pink of the flesh. You've got the sort of putrid green, and oh, okay. So, what Lornor said is they do actually have gold there, and I can kind of see it now that he says it, but there's just a poor angle on those guys, so they don't have that, so it doesn't look as if they've got that gold edge there. But yeah, so I think the skulls have come together really well, and this is the way that I like skulls, ladies and gentlemen, that more sort of skullish color, not the pure white. But once again, that's more just a issue of taste. So I think these guys have come together really well. And one thing that I will comment on is that basing is just fabulous there. I really like that basing, especially when we've seen some of the other stuff done up. I think it's not quite as good with these guys right here, but, you know, you can't have them all be winners. All right, so I think that this guy's come together fairly well, but I don't think he's quite as interesting as, say, this guy or this guy over here. But such is life. Yeah. So when Lawn Or is painting up the skulls, he says, "It is so lazy. Paint bone, wash sepia, dry brush, light bone, done." Yes, that is correct, but it still comes up phenomenally, doesn't it? Take a look at that. Yeah, usually I'll give like 2 dry brushes. I'll start off with like the original bone color, and then I'll bring it up to like maybe a 50-50 of that and Screaming Skull or something. But yeah, I think that these look grand. So he says, Caladors, I'm with Fishman. If you want to wait until next weekend, possibly do a 6-hour video. Yeah, no, I think not, man. I think I'll just keep on powering on. Powering on. I do appreciate the videos, and I can tell that they not only provide a reward for my work, but entertain me while I work, but also motivation to work faster. I've been spending the weekends racing to get these models done, hoping in time for these weekend videos. Well, I'm glad to hear that, man, because yeah. So I'm going to do a bit more into my profession, which is psychology. And see, the thing is, that's what people enjoy. They enjoy feedback. I know it sounds very sort of, well, duh, but it doesn't seem as if a lot of people act on it. Give people feedback, and you will get so much more out of them. All right, so next up, we've got more of Lawn Or doing up some works in progress by the looks of things. So he's following Angel. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but I do know that he is a magnificent painter. And I tell you what, if you get to the stage where you're able to actually follow along with him, you are really at a high level of painting, ladies and gentlemen. His book, even not Burke. His book is well worth getting, from everything that I've been told. Yeah, so very much take a look if you're interested in improving your painting. All right, so next up, we have Lawn Or posting up my live stream because, of course, I didn't post it up myself. So thank you very much for that, Lawn Or. Bonus. And finally, we've got Sotonus Polinius, commonly known as an Andy. And he's taking a break from the modern stuff. And what a break it is, ladies and gentlemen. So I don't know what's going on with this shield. I don't know if this is like a full decal, what he's done. But oh my God, doesn't it look beautiful, ladies and gentlemen? I love the way that he's brought in the dust and done the chipping, all of that sort of thing. Oh, it is just absolutely gorgeous. It is just such a feature piece on it. And, the way that he incorporates the terrain, the way that he's added those bits of dust, the bits of chipping, it's just freaking gorgeous. I think that there is a reason why, yeah. Joseph, Lawn Or says, I hope that that's a transfer, which, I'm guessing that this part of it is, the Wings of Victory. Is that what they're called? Or the Laurels? I'm unsure as to which, but because I know that they're not done in the green. I think that has a special significance, but I don't know. But yeah, I think that that's come together just so well. I don't know whether you painted the red on first or whether it's all part of one thing, but I love how that's incorporated in. The red just looks just beautiful. Just beautiful the way that that's been done in. And you can see why these Romans were feared all over the world, because while everybody else is in fur coats and you've got this marching towards you, that would be terrifying. So Ira Steve says, a great start with these Ogrins. They look great. Lovely start. But yeah, this guy just looks absolutely phenomenal. And I can see why in such a short period of time he's gotten so many likes, because it is absolutely beautiful. Next up, we've got Soap Dodger, who joined us on the last stream. Thank you very much for joining us, Soap Dodger. And he says, long time, no post. Been loving to see everybody's painting and placing a lot of likes, but no comments of late. Hey, yeah, if you guys don't feel that you are up to commenting or posting stuff, just come along and like stuff, because man, that really does make people's day. All right, so he's been working on the foreground stuff, and I think that it's coming together really well. See, I don't know what starts out painted and what doesn't with foreground stuff. See, I really like this sort of browning effect right near the ground, you know, as if the mud's been splashing up, that sort of thing. I think that that looks absolutely phenomenal. And we've got some more Angel. All right. Geraldez? Pronunciation is not my thing, ladies and gentlemen. And he's been doing up this lovely model, which comes with the guidebook, as far as I know. And I think that she looks really nice. My only problem is that she is a super thin and tiny model. But that is just an issue with Infinity in general. Her Aldiaz. Okay, so you were saying how it was being pronounced before. I thought he was saying all hail Diaz. So her Aldiaz, and or her Aldez. Oh, Heraldez. Ah, there we go. I've got it. So Angel Heraldez. So this has come up just beautifully. I really love the way that he's done the edging. And I think that that looks really good. I think the face has come up really nicely. The lips have come together just so beautifully. And I think that that is very hard to do. Lips, ladies and gentlemen, is a bit of a trap. Remember that a lot of the times with lips, you can have them end up looking a bit clownish at times if you're not careful. But yeah, taking a look at those eyes, you know, I'd prefer a different angle to be able to look at those eyes. But I think that that's come together just so well. So that's the whole thing. You paint black for starters and then get in there. Yeah. Irish Steve says comments are a rarity. Yeah, but that's why I try and do these videos, because I feel that when you put stuff up, you really want to get that sort of commentary going. And I just found that in the end, doing videos is actually quicker than writing up comments if you're going to do stuff up properly. And Irish Steve says, I absolutely love that thatched cottage. But yeah, I'm with you on that. All right, so yeah, I'm just gonna see if I can say anything as far as, you know, improving this, but no, there isn't. You know, I'm always looking to give critique, not criticism, not tearing down. But if I can't give it, and I don't think I can on this. Evil Stu says, yeah, a lot of detail beyond the original foreground kit. So yeah, I'm unsure as to what you actually get with the original foreground kit, so I'm not going to comment one way or the other. Next up, we've got Andre77, and we've got some absolutely beautiful Alpha Legion guys done up. So I really love the way that he's done up the missiles, and he's done up all of the various bits of blasting and so on. I think that just looks absolutely phenomenal, the way that he's done that up. Just lovely, you know, and, you know, the smoke going out the back, the whole 9 yards. I'm still not sold on these bases, Andre, but other than that, I think that these guys have come together really well. I very much like the Alpha Legion scheme, you know, how it's like that slightly different blue to the Ultramarines against all of the black and the steel. I think that that comes together really well, but I think without having their weapons, I think that they would look considerably dull. And I do see why that you want that green on the base for just that extra level of contrast. I think that these guys have come together so well, and I think that that green stuffing that you've done with their hats is just absolutely freaking phenomenal. Also, the way that these guys have come together, you know, with the green and the gray, I think that that looks really, really good, especially those different shades of gray. You know, you've got the blue gray in here with the clothing, and you know, the masks. Lawn Or says the bases are too much. They are bright and draw the eye away from the model. Otherwise, nice work. Yeah, see, that's the problem I have with them. See, I think that you've done a tremendous amount of work with the models, Andre, and see, it seems to me that if you're going to put that level of work into the model itself, it seems like that you want people to focus on the model. See, I really, really loved those other bases that you did up. The ruined steel places, I think that they look so much better. See, I think with these screaming soul sort of things, I think that you could most definitely reuse these sorts of bases. But I think what they would be really good for is sorcerer models or demon models, that sort of thing, you know, coming screaming out of the aether. But I think that I do think that they draw the eye away from the model as a lot more than they should. But yeah, absolutely beautiful, beautiful work with the way that you've done these guys up. All right, so next up we've got Senna. Pronunciation is not my thing, ladies and gentlemen. Don't look for it. All right. So this is just a work in progress, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, wouldn't you love this to be your works in progress most of the time? It is absolutely freaking phenomenal. Just damn lovely. Take a look at it, ladies and gentlemen. All right, I love the way that this skin has come together and the way that he's done the scars and so on. I think the eyes have come out quite nicely, but I think like doing that sort of darker shadow to begin with might have been a bit nicer just to give that extra layer of depth in there. But I mean, when you're working with that sort of thing, I'm not going to give you too much of a rough time because doing eyes is already a nightmare. I think that this beard has come together really, really well. And I just love the way that you're doing the blonde. But yes, ladies and gentlemen, you can have that red beards and blonde hair. It is perfectly natural if you're wondering. Yeah, it's not anything unusual at all. That is most probably one of the least fantasy effect things there. All right, so yeah, I think that it's come together really well. Not much more that I can say than that. Evil Stu says, nice touch having more in the red beard than just the hair. Facial scars look awesome. Yeah, the facial scars do look awesome. But once again, I'm not going to give a full commentary because that's a work in progress. And here is our final post for the hour. And it is Irish Steve. All right. And he's given some feedback here, which is very nice of you. And he is just showing off how he's been doing up this base. So I'm just going to read out this whole thing, considering the amount of time we have. Been crazy busy of late. Real Life Plus streaming. Hit 1.5k followers on Twitch. So well chuffed. I've been trying to get the Foated bloat drone finished up, and he's nearly done. But I realized, crap, this fella needs a base. So we're doing some mucking around with glue and stuff and made this. So we see that he's cracking skin work. Oh, yeah. So he's so Irish Steve was talking about this. Yeah, the skin work is absolutely beautiful. So he's just used some glue to help, you know, make all of this a part of the base. And I found it really interesting. All right, then it got it all painted up. Still needs a little more tint in the water, and the pools are just about right there. So yeah, no, I think that the water and the pools look absolutely well, they don't look lovely at all. They look perfectly horrific. And like this almost looks like crawling maggots to me, which does slightly make me want to hurl. But other than that, I think like that just looks so good the way that it's done up. I don't know what it is in here exactly, but the effect does look like it very much fits the Noggle theme. All right, and also some work on the Kingdom Death model. So Lorna Orr says it makes me want some lime jelly. Not me at all. And that's just a work in progress. So we're going to sit on this one as we make our way out. We've got 5 minutes left, and I figure I will just throw it to you guys and see if you guys want to make a comment on anything, you know, just anything in general. So for me, I've got a tremendous amount of work to do if I want to get my stuff ready for the armies on parade. Just so much work in a month. I mean, I have been working the whole time on it, but that week and a half away has really hurt me in terms of prep time. But yeah, I have very much been enjoying doing it. Let's see if I've got some which I can show you guys. But yeah, I'm just gonna have a look over there and see if I can get something up for you guys. But other than that, for me, it's just mostly life stuff. And I do believe that that is most everyone with everything most days. So let's see what we have in terms of the armies on parade stuff, and I'll see if I can close out with some stuff. No, I do believe that I've shown up everything, but you know, I do have to say one thing. I'll bring this bit up before we end. And I was really proud of managing to get this. You know, I think it just, because you take a look at these and the level of detail with all of them, and I think that they've come up just so fine with each of these little bits in here. I was really happy with the end result, and I really hope that people take note of how they were all done up. But yeah, let's see. So just on his basing, which I will switch over to now. Irish Steve says, super glue dripped on top of wet PVA glue gives the textured effect, which I do believe is this area in here. But yeah, I tell you what, it does look absolutely rancid. Yeah. So, Lorna says there's so many wires and details that it drove me crazy. Oh, don't worry, it did. And give me hand cramps for a week. Don't worry, it did. Evil Stu said, congratulations, the amount of work in those. Yeah, and just see, the thing is for me, what I mostly hope is that people take note of the level of detail that's put into these sorts of things. But you never really know until it's all done. All right, Evil Stu says, keen to see the bloat drone atop this base. Yeah, I think once you put the bloat drone on it, I think it'll look absolutely phenomenal. And it's really interesting to see how people do various things. But, ladies and gentlemen, that looks like it is the hour. All right. So Irish Steve said he's just glued it on this evening. And yeah, so I'm just going to close out scrolling through all of these walkways and such. And I think they've come together just lovely. I really enjoy it. It was a nightmare, an absolute nightmare to finish up. And yeah, I think that I'm very much glad that it is all done up. But we will see, ladies and gentlemen. We will see. Hopefully, I'll take home that third one, and I'll be done with armies on parade for a little while. But yeah, all right, ladies and gentlemen, you know how it goes. Keep those brushes wet, and I will see you later. All right, guys, you all have a good one. See ya.